welcome. What is a stream without scuff, right? So, firstly, my mic was unmuted during the waiting room. I'm so sorry. Secondly, I'm streaming from the second account, Streamlabs, which is not my actual Streamlabs, so I won't be able to find any donation messages or whatsoever unless it's from Ko-Fi to my second channel. But I also will not be able to show any chat, so yes. Yeah, I was trying to find bookmarks. Funny thing, because every teacher's day there will be at least one kid who would send me bookmarks, right? I had a ton of them. I don't know where I put them right now, and now I can't find any bookmarks, so I just found like a paper clip. And I hope, I pray to God, like I won't lose it. Also, I'm gonna because I won't be able to finish reading this book by the due date. If well, what's the due date? Let me check. 29th of July. I don't think I'll be able to finish reading this book by the due date itself. The return date, it's a library book. I didn't actually buy this. So yeah, I need to bring this along for my holiday, and I'll be finished reading it. I'll finish reading it there, so I won't stream everything. But I thought I might as well get started before that. So this is reading 12 Rules for Life, an Antidote to Chaos. Except I am chaos. So let's see how this is going to go. This book has been recommended by someone who I've been collaborating with on my second channel quite frequently recently. Their name is Mi-chan. You can check them out. Right, so this book is written by Jordan B. Peterson. He is actually a psychologist. So I don't know, but I heard it is controversial. So I saw many clips about him talking about certain stuff. I would agree with some, but there are some that I think may or may not be too appropriate to everybody's life. It depends, right? So there are 12 rules. Let me get to the content page and skip the overly long forward. Why? This book is so dusty I might sneeze on stream. I'm so sorry. Right, so table of contents. Rule number 1, stand up straight with your shoulders back. Rule number 2, treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Number 3, make friends with people who want the best for you. Number 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Rule number 5, do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Okay, I have no idea what this is. Rule number 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Rule number 7, pursue what is meaningful, bracket, not what is expedient, close bracket. Rule number 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Rule number 9, assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. And rule number 10, be precise in your speech. Rule number 11, do not bother children when they are skateboarding. Rule number 12, pet a cat when you encounter one on the streets. So those are the 12 rules of life. Not that I know all of them, but okay, from first impressions, what I do know about them, or rather what I think I know about them before reading the book. Alright, rule number 1, stand up straight with your shoulders back. I'm pretty sure this means confidence and how you project yourself to the world and how people see you. So it's yeah, it's basically confidence. It can be fake confidence, it can be real confidence and stuff like that. Alright, so this is about being proud of who you are, being confident, being strong. Rule number 2, treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. This is the rule that I often break. I would rather help others than help myself sometimes because it is easier, right? Yeah, I have so many problems. If I knew how to solve all of them, I would have done it by now, but because I don't, that's why I help others. And this is the rule that made Mi-chan actually recommend the book to me, so I'm gonna have to read rule 2 and figure out what this is trying to say. I know I'm supposed to be helping myself, but at the same time I'm I don't actually know how I'm going to be helping myself, because it's like the pull, the tug of war between what I want to do and what I can do, what I should do, and what I it's a balance basically. I don't have a balance. I am good at working and I like my work. I like content creation, I like writing, I like teaching kids and passing on stuff, knowledge and whatever not. So those are things that I do, right? However, it takes up so much time, it takes up so much energy, and then I don't care for myself. Self-care, right, is the last thing on my list, so I often break down. That is, it is what it is, right? So, This rule 2 I don't master, so I don't think it's doing me a favor, but I will read this. Rule number 3, make friends with people who want the best for you. This is a rule that I learned in a very difficult way. For the last 5 or 6 years of my life, I have been cutting off ties with so many people who were deadweights, who were toxic, who just didn't want me to succeed, you know, who just think that basically they were either the people who would ride on my coattail or like abuse me or like, you know, just reap the benefits of being a quote-unquote friend and stuff like that. It is difficult, but it is only possible to meet people who want the best for you after you cut off all these people, right? So I had like the longest time doing this. So rule 3, I think I got it. Not sure what Dr. Peterson would say about it, but I think this is what it is. It's like getting yourself out of a toxic situation, you know, saving yourself from all these environment that you are not so good with, getting out there, making a space for yourself that is healthy, right? So many of us, we grew up in environments, especially at home. We were raised by an environment that doesn't favor us. That's all I can say. So this rule is very true, right? It took me a long time. If it took me like 5 or 6 years to get there and like implement this rule, I don't know how long it would take for a lot of other people. Yeah, but it is an important one. You find that life doesn't actually have to suck for like the first time. I mean, life is tough, yes, but it doesn't have to always suck, you know? Because it's not you that sucks, it's the people and the place that you are in that sucks. So yeah, gotta change that. And then when you find yourself in a better place, you get adopted by all these people who see that you're such a good, like, you know, an unpolished gem, and they're like, oh my god, join us. That's basically how it is. And also that's how I get my collabries. Those of you who follow my second channel, you know what I'm talking about, right? Rule number 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today. So for the longest time, this rule I've been taught when I was younger, right? Like I am my own rival and competitor. However, I find it very hypocritic, because Asian parents, right, they will always bring someone else up today who is better than you, even though they teach you that you are your own rival, you are your own competitor. Like, don't compare yourself to anybody else. But you are not allowed to do the comparison with other people, yet they will compare you with other people. It is very contradicting, don't you think? Right? So when they say compare yourself to who you were yesterday, this is what they meant, not someone else is today. So, but that part over there, alright, this rule is mostly broken by Asian parents, alright, who always be like, oh, you know, your cousin did so well whatsoever. Oh, look at this girl, she's like 3 years old, but she already is like in a symphony orchestra with the violins. Like, what are you? You've been learning piano for the last, what, I don't know, 2 years? Like, what it's a waste of your time and money to actually even try, you know? Yeah, that is something that you gotta learn, or I gotta learn. So yes, compare myself, but also at the same time, I feel like there is no, I don't pull the brakes on it. I am continuously learning things every day, right, in that sense. But I feel like at the same time, it is okay to not constantly compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Like, today I wrote 2,000 words, yesterday I wrote 2,001 words. I am worse than I was yesterday. Like, please don't. Please don't. Not like literally, but figuratively. Like, look at yourself from a while back and notice if things have changed for the better. That's all I'm gonna say. Right, so that's what rule number 4 should be about. And rule number 5, do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Okay, this one I actually don't really know what he's talking about here. But if I were to assume, right, so I am single, I don't have kids, but I have a lot of students. So if I were to put myself in the shoes of my parents and apply this rule, do not let my children do anything that makes me dislike them. So basically, I have to walk my talk, right? I don't have to, like, yeah, basically there are a lot of parents that I know because I teach a lot of kids. Some parents, they're like, don't do this, and then they will do it, and then the child will complain to me, my mom says I can't, but she's doing it and right in front of me, and when I tell her that, she says shut up. I'm like, That isn't it. So if you don't want your child doing something, right, that makes you upset, then first and foremost, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So I think rule number 5 is to walk your talk, do unto others what you want others to do unto you and stuff like that. You know, it's like the set the role example. Be the bigger person. Do something that you want other people to imitate or do, rather than complain that everybody else is an asshole because you are also an asshole. So if you want people to be kind, first be kind. If you want people to speak intelligently, first be intelligent. If you want people to be funny and genuine, first be funny and genuine. That's what I think rule number 5 is, but I could be wrong, right? So I'm gonna have to read the book to understand what this is. Rule number 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. This one here really hits home, right? Because my house is in a disarray. Okay, when I talk about house, it's not my my literal room. Okay, my room is a mess. But it is a mess only because I have so many side jobs, so many freelance projects and whatever not, right? It's a functional mess. But when I talk about this house in perfect order, they are talking about the internal house, the internal world. What I think Dr. Peterson is talking about is to actually look inside you, to see if you got all these things right and you practice what you preach before you complain about others. So it's kind of similar to rule 5 in a sense, whereby you walk your talk, but now not just walk your talk, but also control your thoughts. For example, before you criticize if somebody else is fat, for example, alright, and then you fat shame them, look at yourself. You may be a skinny bitch, but you know, you're fat on the inside. Are you even healthy in the first place? Why are you fat shaming someone else? Is it because they're unhealthy? Or is it because you just don't like people who are fat because you once were fat? Is that a self-esteem issue? You gotta look at yourself first before you talk about someone else. If it's a self-esteem issue, then the problem is not a fat person being fat. It's a problem with you. That's what I think rule 6 is. So before you criticize anybody else, before you say someone else is a shithead, you gotta know if you are first a shithead, right? So I have this thing whereby the world is a reflection of how I see it, okay? It will tell me things that I hate about myself. And for the last 5-6 years, I have seen things that I failed to see about like 20 years ago, 10-20 years ago. That's because I was in a very toxic environment. So everything that I disliked about others is actually everything that I disliked about myself. So yeah, when I criticize someone about that, I'm actually shooting my own self, like shooting my own foot. That's what I said. So rule 6, first check yourself, make sure you're good before you actually tell other people that. Like, I have this very slightly toxic / dysfunctional best friend relationship with Dame Butterfly. We constantly give each other self-checks like, bitch, you gotta rest, bitch, you gotta eat, bitch, you gotta sleep. And none of us are actually doing that, we're just telling each other. So this is a very terrible thing, right? Rule 6 broken right here. We're like, you gotta take better care of yourself, otherwise I'm gonna like ship you an Asian slipper to slap you. But then I should be shipping the Asian slipper to myself to slap me because I'm not doing it. So yes. Rule number 7 though, right? Pursue what is meaningful, bracket, not what is expedient. So basically, I interpret this as something that is more like a result-oriented versus something that is more like a value. So it's like a quantity versus quality kind of thing. There is no wrong in chasing materialistic success. That's what I think. But at the end of the day, materialistic success will deteriorate. As in, like, you can't take it. You can take it to the grave, but what are you gonna do it? What are you gonna do with it once you're in the grave, right? People are not going to thank you for all the material success that you have. People are just gonna be happy that they now have it, right? But I think what is meaningful, as in pursue what is meaningful, I have found this is actually like, okay, so personal story. I worked in finance before, right? I had a lucrative future, but I hated it. Like, every day I go there, I'm excellent at my job. I count the money, I make sure that the bills are paid on time, I chase all the customers to pay the damn bills. I make sure that the company had every cent in every single department accounted for, right? That's what I do. And then at the end of the month, they give me some money for doing such a good job. And then, what next? Right, so I thought to myself, I was like, this is a soul draining job. Every day, I'm counting millions of dollars through my hands that don't belong to me, first and foremost, alright? Secondly, this millions of dollars that I see getting filtered through this company doesn't go back to helping the people who needs it. It's a pharmaceutical company, right? But they don't sell medicines to people who can't afford it. It's always the premium customers who demand it, right? There are no like cheaper alternatives. There are no like more affordable alternatives. They don't do a lot of things to help the society and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? I can be doing a lot more than just sitting in this cubicle counting dollars for people who don't even care about people who are on like, you know, the ICU and like, you know, the broke people who are dying, right? So there is no use, like literally no use doing this. So I left the job and I turned to writing. And then after that, I turned to teaching as well as freelance. So I decided that I wanted to pursue something that was meaningful. Meaningful as in like I wanted to give back, right? Part of me wanted to give back. Part of me wanted to help shape people who have like, you know, or in my personal preference or in my personal interpretation is like the people who have a chance to be happier at life, you know? Maybe those who are not too late yet. Maybe those who can still turn around. Like what Muff Muffu did for me, like that song he sang. Took me back from the edge of suicide. I may be still like, you know, suicidal here and there, but I'm not that close to the edge right now. It's thanks to him, you know? So I decided I wanted to do something like that. That's why I became a writer. The books that I wrote, I wanted to help someone else. That's why I did it. And then I realized that, you know, my books can't talk, but I can. So I went into teaching. Why I went into teaching is because I don't want to be teaching adults who cannot be changed, you know, who cannot be influenced. Not all adults are very, you know, open to the learning process anymore. But kids, they are different. Kids can be taught. Kids are receptive. The way a kid learns is through the teacher. If they like the teacher, they will learn anything you teach them. Okay, like I'm guilty of teaching them things that may be questionable. Their parents have asked me before, why does my child want to go to hell? That's because I explained to them that heaven is a boring place and hell is more fun, so I'm definitely going there. And they all jumped on the train and be like, I want to go to hell too. Right, so I may be, you know, not the best teacher in that sense. I am very questionable. Right, but on the other hand, I think it's meaningful to actually pass on things and tell them things that they need to know. For example, their parents tell them, alright, that you have to study hard. Why do you have to study hard? Because everybody is doing it. If you don't study hard, you won't get a job. You won't get a job, you won't get money. You won't get money, you can't buy food. You can't buy food, you'll starve to death. Right? So that is literally what their parents tell them. And I'm like, that's not how it works, alright? Studying is only because they want you to choose what you want to do when you grow up, but because you don't know what the fuck you want to be when you grow up. One moment you say I want to be a doctor, next moment you say I want to be a singer, next moment you are like, oh, actually I want to be like just a road sweeper, I don't actually want to work, I just want to play computer games all day, you know? So like the government is like, we're giving everybody, every child, every student an equal opportunity to create the future that you want by giving you a basic foundation that is called education. Everybody's gonna study the same things, and then whether or not it's useful after you graduate, you can choose what you want to do with it in life. Like for example, if you are going to order a burger at McDonald's, right, you're gonna have to learn how to speak English. You're gonna have to learn how to count, because if you don't know how to count, you don't know how to, like, how much change you're gonna get back and stuff like that. So these are for life skills. You need English, you need math, especially if you're in Singapore, right? Okay, the other things, for example, science, it may be optional. Basic science would be great, but it is not always, like, you know, compulsory. You don't need to know your periodic table to order a burger. That is true, that is correct. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is something that you have to do, alright, in order to get to like a further stage in life. That is why you prioritize. And I teach kids this, so I think it's meaningful to equip them with the truth that most adults won't tell them, and they won't find it out until they're like what, 25, 26, and by then they will have a life like that's full of regrets and like, why didn't anyone tell me before? Well, thankfully I'm that one teacher who would tell them before they get to that stage. So that's what I find meaningful, and that's rule 7. I think I nailed this one. So I'm pursuing something that's meaningful. It may not all be like useful and stuff like that, you know, and I can't help as many people as I wish I could, but it is what it is, and I'm pursuing what's meaningful. Rule 8 though, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. This is very true, alright? I don't know if this is something that people naturally know, but I don't like to tell lies simply because, first and foremost, there is no need to lie, alright? When I do something, I do it because I know I want to get it done, regardless of the consequences, alright? I know that if I help someone and I might die, I'm prepared for death. I know that if I steal something, I might go to jail. I will have a very good reason why I'm stealing it in the first place, alright? If I kill someone and I know that it's gonna be like a death sentence, I'm still gonna kill that person because I know exactly why I'm doing it. I don't tell lies, alright? I tell the truth, but only when asked. That's the catch, alright? Rule 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. I never lie, but I only tell the truth when I'm asked. And also, I don't tell the whole truth. I only tell the part of the truth that people need to know. In some cases, it can be said as half-truths, but I feel like being sincere and being genuine is a big part of what makes you a human being. Right, so rule 8, this is it. I don't know if this is absolutely a rule that everybody follows. I mean, sure, there are things like white lies, you know, like little things, yeah. But I think it's in character to practice being honest in the first place. Right? You can't choose to be quiet. You don't have to say everything. Right? You can choose to maintain your silence, but when the situation calls for it, especially for important things, life and death situation, when you are confronted with someone who is bearing their heart and their feelings out in the open, being extremely vulnerable with you, that you should not lie. Alright? If you have nothing nice to say, you can remain silent, but I don't think that you should be lying, especially in those kind of situations, right? White lies are still lies. Yeah, I am terrible at telling lies, so my lies would sound like jokes. That is like a different problem in itself, right? So rule 8 is not a problem for me, but for some people, rule 8 is a problem. Why? The truth, okay? They lie, okay, they might tell the truth to everyone, but then there's also this kind of people who lie to themselves. I've seen it, and yeah, it gradually kills that person from the inside. Don't lie, not just to the people on the outside, but to yourself as well. If you don't like something, you don't like something. Don't try to convince yourself like, oh, I'm okay, it'll be fine, I just need to give it a little try, or I need to try harder and I'll be fine and I'll be okay and I'll like this. That isn't gonna work out. Like, trust me, it's not. You can't keep lying to yourself forever. It's not gonna work. That's not how it works. Rule 9. Assume that the person you are listening might know something you don't. So this in itself is a lesson of humility. So it is something that you want to talk less and learn more. As a teacher, they always have this: talk less, learn more, listen more, and then you learn more, right? Teachers always tell this to their students, but how many teachers actually do that for their students? I don't think many of them do. Right? So it's very hypocritical, but it is absolutely true. So although I am someone who learns to read other people, right? It is also something that I have to learn for myself, to give people a chance to express themselves. I may know them like maybe 95%, like I can predict their thought process, I can predict their personality and stuff like that, but everybody has a different story to tell in terms of life experience. No two people share the same life, so it is important to listen and pick those details up. That is what I think anyway, at least for me as a teacher and a writer, right? Like, no two kids are the same. Yeah, they might have similar learning styles and whatsoever and personalities. You see like stereotypical class clowns, but no two class clowns would play the exact same pranks or jokes, right? It is important to get to know them, and then what happens is that when you are listening to them, people tend to like you more because you are genuine. And I am talking about active listening, although I have been told by the therapist to also learn what passive listening is. So I actively listen a lot, right? Even though I don't seem like I'm doing it, but I get easily overwhelmed because whatever that people share, I absorb. It is not a conscious thing, all right? It's a subconscious thing. So I've been told that I should learn how to disengage and do passive listening. So like to acknowledge the information, but also not to get emotionally invested in that information, right? So that is my lesson to learn here. So I will still listen. I will not assume that I know everything. I can guess, but I will still give people that chance to express. However, I'll also distance myself so that I don't get, too deep into it, and then I go into depression again, right? And then this one, Rule 10: be precise in your speech. This is kind of true. Okay, it depends, right? I'm like half of Rule 10, half of not Rule 10. Depends. If I'm in my streamer mode, it doesn't really happen. But if I'm in my writer mode, yes, this is extremely good. But basically, what they say is don't fucking beat around the bush, alright? What do you want to say? Just say it out, alright? But here's the thing: a lot of people mistake this truthfulness and this directness as being rude. There is a difference in being straightforward and being rude, though, okay? You can be straightforward, but respectful, right? If you are straightforward in a sense that you're offending people, it just means you have a lack of tact. And that is no good. It's a skill, alright? It's an EQ skill. You can learn this. So I would recommend people learning this skill instead. It's not just precise in speech, alright? Precise in speech, why? To emphasize the blah blah blah. To emphasize on clarity, right? And also to get the message across in a way that people can understand. It is to minimize miscommunications. That's what I think this is. Preciseness is something that is accurate. So if you want to be accurate in your speech, it means how you say things, the words that you use, your tone, and the timing. This is what preciseness is. It's about effectiveness. It's about efficiency of communication. And it goes two ways. You need it to reach the other person. That's why be precise in your speech. Don't beat about the bush. And also, your speech equates to your intentions. If you are making it difficult for other people to understand, it could only mean two things. Either, number one, you are not so intelligent, or number two, you have ulterior motives. Alright, so that's basically what I think this rule is about. That's rule 10. Rule number 11 is confusing. The more I read this in the tables, it is more confusing, alright? Rule 11, do not bother children when they are skateboarding. Okay, so when children learn how to skateboard, or in a case of like children learn how to cycle a bike, right? There is this thing where parents usually do. Whenever they fall, what do parents do? Two kinds of parents. The parents that immediately rush over to save them and help them, or the parents who keep trying to tell them what to do to get it right. Okay? So this is literally what I see as a teacher. There is a term, it's called helicopter parenting. So what it means is basically the parents, they love their child so much that they would do anything and everything for their child. I mean, unconditional love is correct, but the job of a parent is not to live their life for the kid, right? It's to raise a kid and teach them skills so that they can live their lives themselves. By hovering over them, by helping them with anything and everything, they are actually, minimizing the chances for their child to explore and independently grow, to develop the skill set required as an individual. That's what it does. So I think rule 11 is basically saying, when they say do not bother children when they are skateboarding, it means give people a chance to discover and grow by themselves. It means to stop taking away opportunities that belong to other people, because everybody has a journey to go through, right? You may help, but I feel like, I learned this lesson pretty late in life, that help should only be given to people who ask for help, not the people who don't ask for help, because they're not ready for help. They don't want help. And if you do help these people, they're just gonna curse you, and it's not worth it. You're like spending your energy on someone who doesn't want to be saved. There is no, it is just meaningless at the end of the day. So that's what I think this rule 11 is about. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but that's what I think, like, as the interpretation is. It's very cryptic. Last rule, it's pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. It is I don't know, but I just really love cats. I still have allergies though, right? Okay, what I would say this. There is another saying that is more common. It's like smell the flowers on the side of the road, right? It just means that take in the little things of life and enjoy the moment. Don't be so focused on where you want to go and what you want to do that you forget all the little things in life that bring you joy. Yeah, that is what I think it is. Right, I am guilty of not stopping to pet the cat. I'm just like, cat, bye. Just, yeah, I have this tunnel vision syndrome. When I'm locked onto something, I often don't take time to appreciate the little things in life. I just go, and then at the end of the day, I'm just like, you know, just burnt out. And like, why the fuck am I in this predicament again? It's like, yeah, I don't slow down. I don't enjoy all the little things in life because I am somewhat still in survival mode whereby I just have to get things done. You know what I mean? It is a very common thing for those who have survived multiple PTSDs, have a lot of trauma, have lived a life that is a little bit not so, you know, regular, I would say. It's like being in a war zone. My life is currently like a war zone, kind of. Or rather, I would say my mental state is being in the war zone, so I don't have time to stop. I don't have time to breathe, to think, to rest. I just need to march. I just need to go. I just need to shoot. I just have to survive, and I'll do anything to survive, even if I'm broken, if I'm hurt, if as long as I am not dead, right? Even if I'm broken, I would still continue to fight. That is my mental state at the moment. So rule 12. It's kinda hard, so let's see. If I understood all these rules correctly without even reading the book, I would only have Rule 1, yes. Rule 2, no. Rule 3, yes. Rule 4, yes. Somewhat. Okay, Rule 4 is like a 50-50. Rule 5, yes. Rule 6, yes. Rule 7, yes. Rule 8, yes. Rule 9, yes. Rule 10, yes. Rule 11, 50-50. Rule 12, no. So I have 3 no's, 2 50-50s. That makes a total of 4 out of 12. That's like what? 4 out of 12. 25%? I'm about 75% there if the rules are correct. The other 25 is things I have to work on, I guess. So yeah, without further ado, I suppose I shall read a little bit before bedtime. Holy shit, that was like what? 30 minutes just flew by. Okay. Alright, I still don't know if the people on this channel actually like this kind of things, but I think it's pretty interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in comments if you're watching the VODs, or if you are in chat, just feel free. I don't have chat reflected here, so it's fine. Rule number 1. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Lobsters and territory. If you're like most people who don't often think about lobsters, unless you're eating one. Okay, stop. I've not eaten a lobster before, so I don't know how it's gonna be like. Right? I don't even know how it looks like IRL because I've never seen one, but sure. However, these interesting and delicious crustaceans are very much worth considering. Their nervous systems are comparatively simple, with large, easily observable neurons, the magic cells of the brain. Because of this, scientists have been able to map the neural circuitry of lobsters very accurately. This has helped us understand the structure and function of the brain and behavior of more complex animals, including human beings. Lobsters have more in common than you... Lobsters have more in common with you than you think, particularly when you are feeling crabby, haha. Right, okay, that is a very lame joke, right? Lobsters live on the ocean floor. They need a home base down there, a range within which they hunt for prey, and scavenge around for stray edible bits and pieces of whatever rains down from the continual chaos of carnage and death far above. They want somewhere secure, where the hunting ground and gathering is good. They want a home. This can present a problem, since there are many lobsters. What if 2 of them occupy the same territory at the bottom of the ocean at the same time and both want to live there? What if there are hundreds of lobsters all trying to make a living and raise a family in the same crowded patch of sand and refuse? Other creatures have this problem too. When songbirds come north in the spring, for example, they engage in ferocious territorial disputes. The songs they sing, so peaceful and beautiful to human ears, are siren calls and cries of domination. A brilliantly musical bird is a small warrior proclaiming his sovereignty. And the wren, for example, a small feisty insect-eating songbird common in North America. A newly arrived wren wants a sheltered place to build a nest away from the wind and rain. He wants it close to food and attractive to potential mates. He also wants to convince competitors for that space to keep their distance. Birds and territories. My dad and I designed a house for a wren family when I was 10 years old. It looked like a Conestoga wagon and had a front entrance about the size of a quarter. This made a good house for wrens who were tiny and not so good for other birds that are larger who couldn't get in. My elderly neighbor had a birdhouse too, which we built for her at the same time from an old rubber boot. It had an opening large enough for a bird the size of a robin. She was looking forward to the day it was occupied. A wren soon discovered our birdhouse and made himself at home there. We could hear his lengthy, trilling song repeated over and over during the early spring. Once he'd built his nest in the covered wagon, however, our new avian tenant started carrying small sticks to our neighbor's nearby boot. He packed it so full that no other bird, big or small, could possibly get in. Our neighbor was not pleased by this preemptive strike, but there was nothing to be done about it. "If we take it down," said my dad, "clean it up and put it back in the tree, the wren will just pack it full of sticks again." Wrens are small, and they are cute, but they are merciless. I had broken my leg skiing the previous winter, first time down the hill, received some money from school insurance policy designed to reward unfortunate, clumsy students. I purchased a cassette recorder, a high-tech novelty at the time, with the proceeds. My dad suggested that I sit on the back lawn, record the wren song, play it back, and watch what happened. So I went into the bright spring sunlight and taped a few minutes of the wren laying furious claims to his territory with song. Then I let him hear his own voice. That little bird, 1/3 the size of a sparrow, began to dive bomb at me and my cassette recorder, swooping back and forth, inches from the speaker. We saw a lot of that behavior even in the absence of the tape recorder. If a larger bird ever dared sit and rest in any of the trees near our birdhouse, there was a good chance he would get knocked off his perch by a kamikaze wren. Now, wrens and lobsters are very different. Lobsters do not fly, sing, or perch in trees. Wrens have feathers, not hard shells. Wrens can't breathe underwater and are seldom served with butter. However, they are also similar in important ways. Both are obsessed with status and position. For example, like a great many creatures. The Norwegian zoologist and comparative psychologist Thorleif, I will butcher this word because I don't know how to say it, but it's a Skallidrup ebb. I'm so sorry. Observed back in 1921 that even common barnyard chickens established a pecking order. The determination of who's who in the chicken world has important implications for each bird's survival, particularly in times of scarcity. The birds that have always priority access to whatever food is sprinkled out in the yard in the morning are the celebrity chickens. After them come the second stringers, the hanger-ons, the wannabes. Then the third-rate chickens have their turn, and so on, down to the bedraggled, partially feathered, and badly packed wretches who occupy the lowest, untouchable stratum of the chicken hierarchy. Chickens, like suburbanites, live communally. Songbirds such as wrens do not, but they still inhabit a dominance hierarchy. It's just spread out more over the territory. The williest, strongest, healthiest, and most fortunate birds occupy prime territory and defend it. Because of this, they are more likely to attract high-quality mates and to hatch chicks who survive and thrive. Protection from wind, rain, and predators, as well as easy access to superior food, makes for much less stressed existence. Territory matters, and there is little difference between territorial rights and social status. It is often a matter of life and death. If a contagious avian disease sweeps through a neighborhood of well-stratified songbirds, it is the least dominant and most stressed birds, occupying the lowest rungs of the bird world, who are most likely to sicken and die. This is equally true of human neighborhoods when bird flu viruses and other illnesses sweep across the planet. The poor and stressed always die first, and in great numbers. They are also much more susceptible to non-infectious disease such as cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. When the aristocracy catches cold, as it is said, the working class dies of pneumonia. Because territory matters, and because the best locals are always in short supply, territory seeking among animal produces conflict. Conflict, in turn, produces another problem: how to win or lose without the disagreeing parties incurring too great a loss. This latter point is particularly important. Imagine that two birds engage in a squabble about a desirable nesting area. The interaction can easily degenerate into outright physical combat. Under such circumstance, one bird, usually the largest, will eventually win, but even the victor may be hurt by the fight. That means a third bird, an undamaged, canny bystander, can move in opportunistically, defeat the now crippled victor. That is not all a good deal for the first two birds. Right, so basically over here they are like, explaining about all these things that are why people are what they are due to the nature of what we need. It's a Maslow's hierarchy theory of basic needs and the scarcity of resources that everybody is fighting over in order to survive. It's a survival game here, even in human competition. But we don't need to survive and fight over food and stuff like that. In more privileged areas, we fight over things like money, like social status, like job opportunities, etc, etc. And let me just see how long this is. I don't think I'll be able to finish all these in like one reading. It is very long. Oh my god, it's 28 pages. I'm only at page 4 and I'm not done. My throat. No, I don't think I'll be able to finish this like for real. Okay, I'll just do as much as I can at my own pace. Also, the words are small. My eyes are not good. The lighting is really terrible because of the microphone. Alright, let's see if I can find a better position. Yeah, no, the light is not good in the way. Okay, maybe this. Where was I? Right, over the millennia, animals who must cohabit with others in the same territories have in consequence learned many tricks to establish dominance while risking the least possible amount of damage. A defeated wolf, for example, will roll over on its back, exposing its throat to the victor, who will not then deign to tear it out. The now dominant wolf may still require a future hunting partner after all, even one as pathetic as his now defeated foe. Bearded dragons, remarkable social lizards, wave their front legs pecked peacefully at one another to indicate their wish for continued social harmony. Dolphins produce specialized sound pulse while hunting, and during other times of high excitement to reduce potential conflicts among dominant and subordinate group members. Such behavior is endemic in the community of living things. So basically, if you didn't know, we're all social creatures. We cannot live without a community. So that is it. Honestly though, these are all things that I know, but it's going about in such a long-winded way to get to the point that I don't want to. Lobsters scuttling around the ocean floor are no exception. If you catch a few dozen and transport them to a new location, you can observe their status forming rituals and techniques. Each lobster will begin first their I need a ruler. Where is my ruler? Okay. Can't see shit. Okay, each lobster will first begin to explore new territory, partly to map its details, and partly to find good place for shelter. Lobsters learn a lot about where they live, and they remember what they learn. If you startle one near its nest, it will quickly zip back and hide there. If you startle it some distance away, however, it will immediately dart towards the nearest suitable shelter, previously identified and now remembered. A lobster needs a safe hiding place to rest, free from predators and the force of nature. Furthermore, as lobsters grow, they molt or shed their shells, which leaves them soft and vulnerable for extended periods of time, which may be very good for butter, by the way. A burrow under a rock makes a good lobster home, particularly if it is located where shells and other detritus can be dragged into place to cover the entrance. Once the lobster is snugly ensconced inside, however, there may be only a small number of high-quality shelters or hiding places in each new territory. They are scarce and valuable. Other lobsters continually seek them out. This means that lobsters often encounter one another when out exploring. Researchers have demonstrated that even a lobster raised in isolation knows what to do when such a thing happens. This is what makes animals different from us. They are born with very strong instincts and they actually listen to them. Most of us are just like, oh my god, it's fine, everything will be fine, you know? We just don't have that. Right? It has complex defense and aggressive behaviors built into its nervous system. Begins to dance around like a boxer, opening and raising its claws, moving backward, forward, and side to side, mirroring its opponent, waving its open claws back and forth. At the same time, it employs special jets under its eyes to direct streams of liquid at its opponents. The liquid spray contains a mix of chemicals that tell the other lobsters about its size, sex, health, and mood. Sometimes one lobster can tell immediately from the display of claw size that it is much smaller than its opponent and will back down. Basically, I don't want to die, you can have this, it's okay. It's like choosing immediate death and like death in the future. It's like, I'll take my chances, yeah, you can have this. Right, without a fight, the chemical information exchange in the spray can have the same effect, convincing a less healthy or less aggressive lobster to retreat. That's dispute resolution. Level 1. If two lobsters are very close in size and apparent ability, however, or if the exchange of liquid has been insufficiently informative, they will proceed to dispute resolution level 2. With antenna whipping madly and claws folded downwards, one will advance, the other will retreat. Then the defender will advance and the aggressor will retreat. After a couple of rounds, this behavior, the more nervous of the lobsters may feel that continuing may not be in his best interest, he will flick his tail reflexively, dart backwards, and vanish. Try his luck somewhere else. If neither blinks, however, the lobster moves to level 3, which involves genuine conflict. Genuine combat. So it's basically like a first impression. If I lose, that's the fight, then I run. Or if I don't think I will lose, I will test it out, and if I think that is not worth it, I will go. And if I say fuck this shit, this guy ain't no beating me, and then you go for a real fight. So that's level 3 right now. This time now the enraged lobsters come at each other viciously with their claws extended to grapple. Each tries to flip the other on its back. A successfully flipped lobster will conclude that its opponent is capable of inflicting serious damage. It generally gives up and leaves, although it harbors intense resentment and gossips endlessly about the victor behind its back. That sounds like all the toxic humans you know in your life. If neither can overturn the other, or if one will not quit despite being flipped, the lobsters move to level 4. Holy shit, this is like boxing. Like literally boxing. Ding ding, you don't tap out now, ding ding. Round 2, ding ding. Round 3, ding ding. Round 4. We're on round 4 now, damn. Is it death? I am predicting death now. Right, doing so involves extreme risk. It is not something to be engaged in without forethought. One or both lobsters will emerge damaged from the ensuing fray, perhaps fatally. Yep, I was right. So basically, it's the fight to the death. Animals advance on each other with increasing speed. Their claws are open, they can grab a leg, an antenna, an eye stalk, or something exposed and vulnerable. Once a body part has been successfully grabbed, the grabber will tail flick backwards sharply with the claw clamped firmly shut and try to tear it off. So yeah, if you say an armless lobster, that's probably why. Disputes that have escalated to this point typically create a clear winner and loser. The loser is unlikely to survive, particularly if he or she remains in the territory occupied by the winner and is now a mortal enemy. So yeah, it's like you either win or you die. And then if you don't die and you run away, I think they'll be back for revenge. Although honestly though, lobsters don't have that cunningness in humans that we do. That, you know, we will pretend to concede and then we'll backstab them another day, you know? They don't have that. Not many animals have this. I think humans are probably the only species who would do this. Yeah. We will say, okay, we come in peace, and then we conceal our intentions, and the next thing you know, yeah, I'm pretty sure some of you also know people like this, right? Those people, honestly, I don't like them. And it's very easy to tell though. They may conceal their intentions and act nice and all this, but it's very suspicious, whereby the things that they say don't match the things that they do. That's when you know you should probably run. Alright. In the aftermath of losing a battle, regardless of how aggressively a lobster has behaved, it will become unwilling to fight even further against each other. Previously defeated opponents, a vanquished competitor loses confidence sometimes for days. Sometimes the defeat has even more severe consequences. If the dominant lobster is badly defeated, its brain basically dissolves. What? Then it grows a new subordinate brain, oh my god. One more appropriate to its new lowly position. Holy shit. It's like depression. Lobsters have depression, but they're even worse than us. We have depression. We don't change our brains and say, okay, I shall now be a slave. If we have depression, we're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna jump and kill myself. They just completely change their identity. Like, I'm gonna just, you know, give myself a new life role and I'm going to be awful. Actually, no, that sounds about the same. Oh my god. It's like, I lost one time and now my life is over. I'm only good for, you know, I'm only good at losing. Shit. Or its original brain just isn't sophisticated enough to manage the transformation from king to bottom dog without virtually completely dissolution and regrowth. Anyone who has experienced painful transformation after a serious defeat in romance or career may feel some sense of kinship with the once successful crustacean. Okay, so this is interesting. I didn't know lobsters can do that though, but it is a very long-winded way of telling people what this means. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break over here. I can't. It's too fucking long to read everything aloud. I speed read this way faster than the words can come out of my mouth. Yeah, I'm only gonna read one more portion over here before I end it because my voice can't. I even drank honey water like earlier just to take care of this, but no. Right? The neurochemistry of defeat and victory. A lobster's brain chemistry differs importantly from that of a lobster winner. This is reflected in their relative postures. Whether a lobster is confident or cringing depends... Cringing? Oh, okay, wrong. Whether a lobster is confident or cringing depends on the ratio of two chemicals that modulate communication between lobster neurons, serotonin and Sorry. I know what serotonin is, but octopamine. It is a lobster, but it has octopus parts. Okay, hold on. What is this? Sorry, I'm just so tickled by it. Hold on, let me Google. What is octopamine? I have to know now that it's come out. Octopamine is a chemical that is found in bitter orange and other plants, and in human bodies in small amounts. It is made in the lab. Wait, what is this used for? It is a biogenic amine first identified in octopus. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Okay, it is well studied in arthropods and few gastropods, serving as a neurotransmitter and hormone. Okay, it is the flight and fight hormones. Oh, why is it from octopus though? This is so strange. But okay, so apparently everybody has this, but it's more predominant from octopus. I am thinking because that's the name itself, right? Alright, so there are two neurons, serotonin and octopamine. Yeah, cannot. Yeah, winning increases the ratio of the former to the latter. A lobster with high levels of serotonin and low levels of octopamine is cocky, strutting sort of shellfish, much less likely to back down when challenged. This is because serotonin helps to regulate postural flexion. Basically, he's like the peacock, but then a lobster version of a peacock. He's like, yeah, arrogant, flexy, swelling, all talk and hot air. A flexed lobster extends its appendages so that it can look tall and dangerous, like Clint Eastwood in a spaghetti western, okay? When a lobster has just lost a battle, it is exposed to serotonin. It will stretch itself out, advance even on former victors, and fight longer and harder. The drugs prescribed to depressed human beings, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, have much the same chemical and behavioral effect. In one of the more staggering demonstrations of the evolutionary continuity of life on Earth, Prozac even cheers up lobsters. Holy shit, lobsters on drugs? That's something I want to see. High serotonin and low octopamine characterizes the victor. The opposite neurochemical configuration, a high ratio of octopamine to serotonin, produces a defeated-looking, scrunched up, inhibited, drooping, skulking sort of lobster, very likely to hang out around street corners and to vanish at first sight of trouble. Serotonin and octopamine also regulate the tail flick reflex, which serves to propel a lobster rapidly forward and backwards when it needs to escape. Less provocation is necessary to trigger that reflex in a defeated lobster. You can see an echo of that in the heightened startle reflex characteristic of a soldier or battled child with post-traumatic stress disorder. So basically, the happier people in life with less downfalls and think that they own the world have higher serotonin. And then those who have all these bad things inflicted upon them and then, you know, over and over again repeated, they have more octopamine. So yes, I am very glad to say that my previous design, or actually my current design on the YouTube channel's icon is actually an octopus. That serves me right. That is very accurate actually, according to the lore. I have an orange octopus on my head. Yeah. It is called Octoboost, by the way. I named it Octoboost. Yes, I am an octopus writer. So I have a lot of octopamine. Yes, I'm also depressive. it suits me, right? But basically, if you want to have a higher chance of actually making stuff happen for you, first you got to fake it till you make it. You know, you gotta like look the part before people will give you that chance. That's what I think this first chapter is saying until now. But yeah, it is. I think the takeaway point today of my night bedtime story is the octopamine. I'm so sorry. Right, I like those 8-legged octopus thingies. Yeah, that's octopus. Say hi to octopus, right? So that's all for today's reading. I don't know if I can like read all these on stream. I probably won't because my voice for one, and it is how many pages long? Let me see. It is. Oh my god, these are reference pages. Hold on. These are reference pages. Hold on. Rule 6. No, what is this? Dogs but finally cats. This is Coda. Nope. This is from... Okay, it is about... Okay, officially, until Rule 12, it's about 350. It is 353 pages long. I don't have this book forever. I won't be able to do streams for this, like, forever. So, it's going to have to do for now. Like whenever I can read, whatever I can read, this is what it's gonna be. So I won't be going through in sequence, but I hope that I got the summary for the first 12 rules correct. Like when I was reading the content page and I shared my own interpretation and experience, I hope that is correct because that is probably the most important part of this book. If you are interested, the book is called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, right? It is written by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. So he's a psychologist. It can be found. I think it's pretty popular, so you'll be able to find this in like libraries and stuff like that. Yeah, it's this one is by Penguin House Publications. So yeah, I have a lot. I'll be bringing this book with me for the holidays, and I hope that it will not get ruined by water and anything, you know, because I'm going to like a rainbow waterfall, and I'm not gonna carry it on the hike. I'm not stupid, but at the same time, I'm not confident of not spilling coffee while I'm reading this. It is a public property though. It belongs to the library, not me, but who's checking, right? It is actually torn. Oh my god, someone else actually tore it up a little bit. Please don't find me when you actually get to when I return this. I hope, right? It came from another person. It was already damaged. Oh my god, I don't want to pay for damage fines. Right, that's all for me today. I hope you learned something. I definitely learned something off the meme. Alright. So I had fun. I hope you guys had too. It has been a very long time since I actually read a paperback book. I should probably read like some of those that I have there. Yeah, I have like the entire Sherlock Holmes thing, and I own that book, so maybe I can do that a little longer. I also have the audiobook first chapter reading things for like the web novel things. Initially, I wanted to do kind of like a drama CD production, but I think that I have no time, so I'm just gonna list like, you know, scan through all those non-web novel style stories that are PG-13 to actually read them on the first stream kind of thing. And that's all really. So yeah, thank you for joining. I have to get back to writing because I told myself I was gonna do writing today, like one chapter before the stream, and then I was like, you know, I was so distracted because you know, planning for the second channel Minecraft event. Yeah, it's coming up on the 9th. Is it 9th? No, on the 3rd of July. Right, it's been scheduled. It's the Great Catch. It's a fishing event. I had to set that up, and then there was so much technological stuff before that, so yeah, that was the delay there that made me unable to write. But now that I am kind of semi-done with the stream, I will get back to writing, and I'll leave you guys a great night. Right, if you need to, this is Bedtime Stories with Chibigale. If you... No, not Chibigale, sorry, Disney Aitsuji. Running two channels at the same time, confused. Alright, bye-bye.